everybody? Welcome back to the Shut the F Up.
I'm sorry!
I'm on YouTube. Damn it. J-Rod, roll it. Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. I'm Bryce Hall. My dick's hella small, and I'm trying to turn around and lick my balls, but I can't because my dick's too small. Walking, it's 100 degrees. It feels like Satan's dick in here.
Whoa. At what point of all this did you meet Addison?
It was like 2019. She came over. Instantly, I felt the butterflies. I was like, hey, what's up, Shotty?
Is that really your first words to her?
No. I was like subliminally hitting on her.
As now we have Nessa. Hey, shark girl.
Hey, shark, poopy girl.
Shark girl.
Poop pants. Hey, let's all make it a trend. Let's all comment Nessa sharted
In the bottom of this video.
photos.
Right now, every Instagram photo.
Stop.
And so that's why it's like it hurts, right? That's why like I'm looking at this video, I see two people that I like love, like they're my family. I would die for them tomorrow. I would die for them now. I would like the possibility, like even if it's 0.5% being in the back of my brain of like I could lose both these people.
In early 2020, the world came to a standstill. COVID-19 was spreading like wildfire, lockdowns had begun, and most of us were stuck at home, bored, anxious, and endlessly scrolling. Out of that chaos rose something uniquely Gen Z, the content houses. And at the very center of that cultural wave stood the Sway House, a group of impossibly ripped, perpetually shirtless boys with ring lights, TikTok clout, and just enough chaos to keep them in headlines. It wasn't just another mansion in Los Angeles filled with creators. The Sway House was branded as the anti-hype house, more masculine, more rebellious, more frat boy energy than their dance-driven counterparts. But behind the six-pack thirst traps and choreographed chaos was a time bomb ticking louder with every post. Cheating scandals, public fights, messy breakups, ego wars, and a trail of burned bridges. The rise was fast, but the fall even faster. This is the full story of the Sway House. How it began, what made it explode in popularity, the endless controversies, and ultimately how it all collapsed in spectacular fashion. Now, when you hear the word content house, you probably picture a giant LA mansion packed with young influencers, ring lights in every corner, TikToks being filmed in the kitchen, and non-stop parties. For a while, that was exactly the vibe. From the Hype House to the Sway House to Clubhouse and the Wave House, these collectives dominated social media feeds. Everyone wanted to be in one, or at least follow the drama. Content houses exploded during the pandemic. With the world in lockdown and TikTok on the rise, these groups offered a kind of fantasy escape. It was a mix of friendship, fame, and chaos all under one roof. But like most trends born in quarantine, the hype didn't last. Behind the scenes, there were constant fights, cheating scandals, and business fallouts. Slowly, most of the original houses either broke apart or faded into irrelevance. Today, only a few exist, like the Bop House or Asian House, which mostly hosts OnlyFans creators. To be honest, the flashy, viral content house era is mostly over. But no house captured both the rise and the destruction of this phenomenon quite like the Sway House. We mean it officially launched in January 2020 and came crashing down by February 2021. So just a little over a year later. Which, let's be honest, is kind of pathetic considering how big they were. You'd think a group with that much attention, brand power, and clout would last longer. But what's truly shocking is just how much chaos they managed to pack into that short time. In the span of 12 messy months, the Sway Boys delivered a constant stream of drama. Chances are if you were on the internet around 2020 or 2021, you've seen these faces pop up more times than you can count. Bryce Hall, Jaden Hossler, Josh Richards, the D'Amelio sisters, Addison Rae, these names were everywhere. Whether it was trending drama, viral dances, or messy breakups, they were impossible to escape. But the truth is, a lot of people don't actually know why they were famous in the first place, or how they managed to land themselves in controversy after controversy. That's exactly why we're diving deep into one specific content house that brought most of them together and practically manufactured drama like it was part of their brand strategy. As we go further into this video, fair warning, the sheer amount of name-dropping might leave your head spinning. But don't worry, if you're not familiar with every influencer we mention, we've got you. We'll break it all down and give you everything you need to know about these people and how it all went so horribly wrong. So what exactly was the Sway House? For those of you blissfully unaware, here's a brief introduction. The Sway House was created in January 2020, just before the pandemic would shut the world down. It was the brainchild of Talent X Entertainment, a talent management and social media agency founded by Michael Gruen, an industry insider known for scouting and molding influencer talent. While other content houses like the Hype House were already finding their groove, the idea behind Sway was to go harder, not in dance routines, but in attitude, branding, and chaos. Unlike the squeaky clean Disney Channel vibes of the Hype House, the Sway House leaned into being the bad boys of TikTok. Think protein powder instead of pastel outfits, punching bags instead of LED lights. Their content was wild, their image was rebellious, and they thrived off controversy.
He's about to be. Broken ass nose, small, still kinda softish, toxic, act like you poppin', no, built like a chopstick, talk about money you got.
Guys, it's Daddy Gray and non-Daddy Bryce Hall here.
That was f***ing weird. His name's Blake Gray. I'm Bryce Hall. If you pan the camera over that way a little bit,
It's our ex-girlfriend!
The original Sway Mansion was a luxury estate in Bel Air, Los Angeles. Now, if you're not familiar with the area, it's one of the richest old money areas in LA. It's actually part of the Beverly Hills. So, yeah, you get the idea.
yo, somebody's at the door! Yo, somebody's at the door, guys, yo! Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Sway House, come on in.
It had everything you'd expect from a high-end content house. Massive bedrooms, a private gym, a pool that begged to be vlogged in, and enough space to film TikToks at any hour. But it wasn't long before the house became less known for its aesthetic and more for the chaos within its walls. The goal was clear: dominate TikTok and the internet. Sway wasn't just about dancing in front of a phone. It was about building personal brands, launching music careers, and capitalizing on viral moments. They had a formula: take hot guys with decent social skills, let them live together, stir in drama, and post it all online. And it worked, in a way. Worked well enough to make headlines, even if it was for all the wrong reasons. Or worked well enough to get called out by Ariana Grande on national television. Or maybe well enough to make the mayor of Los Angeles cut power and water supply to their house. Yeah, and this is not even the tip of the iceberg. From the beginning, the vibe was different. The Sway Boys weren't doing cutesy group dances in coordinated outfits. They were shirtless, sweaty, and usually yelling. Their content felt raw and chaotic, often looking like a frat house on spring break. Whether it was smashing things in the backyard, working out aggressively, or mocking other creators, Sway House became a lightning rod for attention, both good and bad. They didn't just lean into the bad boy image, they weaponized it. Whereas the Hype House relied heavily on TikTok's wholesome, family-friendly vibe, Sway leaned into edgy humor, reckless behavior, and constant rule-breaking. However, the fans ate it up, even though their entire fan base was basically made of about 10-year-old boys.
Yo, somebody's at the door! Yo, somebody's at the door!
Or they call it Sway. It's like the hippest name of all time.
At the same time, critics hated it, but it kept them in the algorithm. Now, another thing we'd like to talk about is comparison. From day one, comparisons to the Hype House were inevitable. But the difference was night and day. The Hype House was polished, aesthetic-driven, led by Thomas Petrou and Chase Hudson, aka Lil Huddy, and mostly PG-13. The Sway House was more like gym bros with phones, throwing punches, drinking, and blasting music, somewhere between TikTok and Jersey Shore. Though the two houses occasionally collaborated, there was a low-key rivalry that never really went away, fueled by fan bases, tweets, shade-filled TikToks, and competing clout. And don't worry, we're gonna break it all down in this video. However, before we get into the team drama and relationship scandals, we want to talk about the mastermind behind the vision. Despite all the madness, there was a serious business machine behind it. Michael Gruen and Talent X weren't just handing out free rent, they were building influencer empires. Members were quickly offered brand deals, modeling gigs, sponsorships, and music opportunities. And even when the members weren't beefing, partying, or getting canceled, they were still growing fast. Bryce Hall hit millions of followers seemingly overnight. Josh Richards started dipping into entrepreneurship. Jaden Hossler began a full pivot into music. In the beginning, everything they touched turned into internet gold, until it didn't, because soon things would begin to spiral. And what started as a clout-fueled frat fantasy would unravel into one of the messiest content house collapses of all time. That being said, we'd now like to introduce you to the cast of the Sway House, also known as the One Direction of TikTok. If the Sway House was a chaotic brand, then its members were the loud, shirtless mascots leading the charge. Each one had their own role to play. Some were the heartthrobs, some the bad boys, others were just kind of there. But together they made up one of the most infamous groups in TikTok history. Whether it was through drama, scandals, music, or straight-up fights, these boys managed to keep themselves trending almost every week. Disaster to the table. There were 9 members in total, and trust us, each one of them brought their own special flavor of disaster to the table. Let's start with the most obvious one, Bryce Hall. If The Sway House was a movie, Bryce was the loud, reckless main character who just couldn't help but self-destruct for attention.
I think you have a little crush on me. Ew, no. Yeah, I think you do.
He was one of the co-founders and easily the most polarizing member. Known for his aggressive attitude, short temper, and I don't care energy, Bryce made headlines almost as often as he made TikToks.
Hey, he's not a fighter. He never claimed to be a fighter.
From starting public fights to getting arrested in Texas for possession of marijuana, to his infamous party during the pandemic that got the power shut off by the city of LA, the guy was practically a walking TMZ headline. He branded himself as the anti-hero, someone who leaned into controversy instead of avoiding it. And whether people loved him or hated him, they definitely were watching. Then we had Josh Richards, arguably the most normal one in the group, and for a while the brains behind the operation. While Bryce was out starting fights, Josh was busy starting businesses.
Guys, now that Bryce is gone, we can get down to what we really were supposed to do in here.
Sounds so wrong. We're watching a movie.
No, I think you were on to the right way the first time.
He was one of the more level-headed members, and despite getting roped into his fair share of drama, especially when it came to relationship messes, he always seemed a little more calculated. Josh co-founded the Sway House with Bryce, but eventually grew tired of the chaos and pivoted toward entrepreneurship. He launched a podcast, BFFs, with Barstool's Dave Portnoy, invested in energy drinks, and positioned himself more as a business mogul than an influencer. According to the Sway House's Wikipedia page, Bryce Hall and Josh Richards were the founding members of the group, which basically means that they were the first ones to be accepted into the content house. After them came Jaden, Anthony, and Griffin, followed by the rest of the group that were added post-forming. Jaden Hossler, as the internet now knows him, Jakeston. Jakeston was the moody, emo member of the group who quickly transitioned from TikTok heartthrob to aspiring rock star. He stood out from the beginning. Painted nails, edgy outfits, and a very different energy compared to the rest of the Sway Bros. But his rise wasn't just about aesthetic. Surprisingly, Jaden had real musical ambitions, and in 2020, he signed with Travis Barker and DTA Records to launch his music career. However, what really threw him into controversy before all of this was his personal life. He was originally best friends with Josh Richards and even dated Mads Lewis, but things got messy when he was linked romantically to Nessa Barrett, Josh's ex-girlfriend. The cheating allegations, diss tracks, cryptic tweets, and unfollows turned it into a digital soap opera, and Jaden became one of the most hated members overnight. Moving on, Griffin Johnson was another key member, although his role was more in the romantic drama department. He was originally known as the sweet, low-key guy who was studying to be a nurse before TikTok fame pulled him into the spotlight. But his image took a nosedive after his very public relationship and breakup with Dixie D'Amelio. It all started off cute and couple goals until cheating allegations surfaced. Dixie posted a now iconic video exposing Griffin's texts with multiple girls, and the internet turned on him instantly.
I'm sorry, nah, I'm not even gonna ask. You're the one that didn't want me, nah, but I ain't trying to win you back. She said I cheated, and that's just fucked up, but you believed it. Ain't that convenient? You hung all the dirty laundry out for everyone to see. 100 million know the story, but they don't know the history. If only they could read between all the lines.
He tried to clap back with a diss track called Convenient, but it only made things worse.
I'm not here to say I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna ask. You're the one that didn't want me, but I ain't trying to win you back. She said I cheated. That's just up, but you believed it. Ain't that convenient?
Yeah, it's dramatic like that. From that point forward, Griffin struggled to recover his reputation and was eventually seen less and less around the Sway crew. Another name worth mentioning is Noah Beck, who technically wasn't an original Sway member, but his association with the group put him in the same spotlight. Noah was often viewed as the soft-spoken model-type influencer with the most crossover appeal. He dated Dixie D'Amelio after her breakup with Griffin, which caused even more fan drama.
Who is Noah Beck dating? I am dating Dixie D'Amelio. Dixie's amazing. She's an awesome girl. It's been really fun, and so I'm excited for the future.
Honestly, at this point, it's getting real hard to keep track of who dated who and when. But don't worry, we'll get into all of it with the proper timelines and everything. However, back to Noah. One thing that fans know very well about Noah is that while he tried to stay out of messy situations, his relationship and awkwardly stiff presence in the chaotic Sway universe made him an interesting outlier. He was in the house, but never really of the house. Then there's Quentin Griggs, the quiet one with the alt-boy aesthetic. He was known for his dyed hair, baggy clothes, and sad boy energy, which made him popular with a very specific segment of TikTok fans.
Boys, Buddy's over here is gonna go distract Quentin. I mean, we're at a party right now. Got a cake, probably slamming in his face because he's a freshman.
What do you want me to tell him?
Quentin's gonna be pissed. No, he's freshman, bro. He'll get it. Hey, let's get it. Next. Yo, what's up, kid?
It's in my eye. Hey, Quentin. Hey, it's burning, bro.
Quentin never seemed to fully immerse himself in the drama the way the others did, but he was still caught in the crossfire from time to time, especially when it came to his on-again, off-again relationship with Cynthia Parker. Like most Sway relationships, it ended in public heartbreak and vague subtweets. Kiasir was another name that floated around the Sway house in its earlier days. He had a charming smile, solid follower count, and contributed to group content, but he didn't quite leave the same mark as the others. He mostly stayed under the radar when it came to major controversies and was more of a side character in the Sway saga than a central figure. He did have some romantic rumors floating around, but nothing that spiraled into full-blown drama the way the others did. And finally, we have Anthony Reeves, known online as Love Anthony. Like Quentin, Anthony wasn't as aggressively involved in the controversies, but his presence was still felt. His relationship with Ivani Gregg, a member of the Hype House, was frequently in the spotlight, and he was often seen as one of the more wholesome members. That said, he wasn't completely drama-free, nobody in Sway was. Even the quiet ones found themselves tangled in the house's chaotic energy eventually.
Just kind of clearing the air, the accusations of me being a cheater.
All in all, the Sway House was a group of very different personalities thrown into one very public, high-pressure environment. Now, before we go any further into breaking down the controversies of the Sway House, we think it's only fair to give some of you, especially those who might not be fully caught up, a quick introduction to the Hype House. And there's a very good reason for that. If you've been paying attention so far, you might have already noticed that there's a lot of crossovers between the two houses. And we're not just talking about a couple of collabs here and there. No, we're talking full-blown TikTok love triangles, messy breakups, exes hanging around the same kitchen, and friendships being tested left and right. So trust us when we say that being familiar with who's who in the Hype House will make the Sway House story so much juicier. The Hype House wasn't just a TikTok content house, it was the TikTok content house. Launched in December 2019, it was the glittery brainchild of Thomas Petrou and Chase Hudson, who basically looked around, saw a wave of viral teenagers and said, let's put them all under one roof and let the chaos unfold. And unfold it did. Over the entire course of its existence, we believe there were a total of 25 members in the Hype Houses. It was a revolving door of creators, but some of the most recognizable names to come out of it were Charli D'Amelio, Dixie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Vonnie Gregg, Nessa Barrett, and of course Chase himself. Basically, if you opened a TikTok in 2020 and saw someone on your For You page doing the renegade, odds are they were living in, visiting, or fighting with someone from the Hype House. But the Hype House wasn't just about dances, it was about influence. These creators were everywhere, launching brands, dating each other, breaking up, making vague tweets about each other, and in some cases, even getting Netflix deals. Now that you know all the members of the story, let's get down to the real tea. Let's start with the one relationship that practically defined early TikTok drama, Bryce Hall and Addison Rae. Now, this wasn't just your typical teen romance. This was the kind of on-again, off-again, we're just friends disaster that played out like a soap opera in 15-second clips. Bryce Hall, the loudest, most chaotic member of the Sway House, and Addison Rae, the golden girl of the Hype House, were first linked together in late 2019. Fans immediately became obsessed with their chemistry, and for good reason. They had all the elements of a TikTok power couple: flirty videos, dramatic tweets, subtweets, and the occasional vlog telling their side of the story.
At what point of all this did you meet Addison?
It was like 2019. She came over. Instantly, I felt the butterflies. I was like, hey, what's up, Shotty?
Was that really your first words to her?
No. I was like subliminally hitting on her.
And was she Addison at that time?
No.
Oh, she wasn't.
She got out of like a 5-year relationship, and I was like, okay, we don't have to rush into anything. We dated, and it was a 2-year process. It's awesome.
But here's the thing. They were never really official until they suddenly were, and then they weren't, and then they were again. Somewhere in between, there were cheating rumors, messy YouTube confessionals, and paparazzi videos of Bryce getting into fights. Addison, on the other hand, was often left cleaning up the mess with carefully worded Instagram stories and TikToks. Over time, there were multiple occasions where Addison Rae and Bryce were rumored to be involved with each other, but for some reason, they never really confirmed anything. Anytime Addison was questioned about Bryce, she'd either avoid giving a clear answer or simply insist they were just good friends.
We are just living life and experiencing things, and I don't know, I feel like, you really just never know until you give things a shot. And I feel like there's a lot of things going on in both of our lives, but I think when we're ready, we'll both.
Whether they agreed or not, people knew that something was going on between those two. They were making content together consistently, even after she left the Hype House. We mean, just look at these two. We don't know how they can ever deny being romantically involved. But things soon took a very dark turn for Bryce when he was arrested for drug-related charges in May 2020. According to a news article, Bryce and fellow Sway House member Jaden Hostler were arrested for possession of marijuana while on a road trip in Texas. According to Insider, Bryce was charged with possession of less than 2 ounces of marijuana, which is punishable in Texas by up to 180 days in county jail or a fine of up to $2,000. Both Bryce and Jaden were released after posting a combined $11,500 bail. There were widespread rumors that when Bryce landed in jail, it was Addison who quietly helped him get out by paying his bail. Although Addison never publicly addressed these rumors, she also didn't deny it, which only fueled the speculation further. However, regardless of whether she actually bailed him out, it became pretty obvious around that time that something romantic was going on between them. Their relationship, or whatever it was, kept fans glued to their screens, thanks to its roller coaster nature. The internet absolutely thrives on unpredictable, messy couples, and Bryce and Addison fit that description perfectly. As for Bryce himself, he first gained attention back in 2014 through his content on a now defunct platform called Vine. Once that app faded out, he smoothly transitioned on TikTok, where his following exploded. Despite the growing closeness between him and Addison, Bryce kept brushing off questions about their relationship and repeatedly insisted they weren't together.
Yeah, I will definitely say she's the best girl that I've ever had.
On the other hand, Addison once replied no comments when she was asked the question by the paparazzi.
Are you guys back together? No comment?
No comment.
During an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Addison stated that she and Bryce were just friends and that she preferred to keep things that way for the time being.
No!
You think I'm cute? Yes or no? Yes?
Okay, we are just friends. So it kind of just, we actually met in October, and we started hanging out a lot. It was kind of like, we weren't even really friends, I would say. Like, we were just kind of around the same people a lot, more acquaintances, I guess you could say. And then later into like October, we ended up just hanging out a lot. And like when I was coming back and forth to LA, like I didn't live here. I was coming back for like Halloween and like my birthday and stuff like that. We kind of just started hanging out more. And then like once I moved here, we like started hanging out a lot. And then we got like super close and like we were really, really, really good friends.
I want you to be mine again, baby.
No, we were talking and like kind of on and off, just like trying to figure things out. And like I'm also like I said, very new to this, and like he's been in this industry for a really long time. But you know, things happen, and then like we just decided like we're better off as friends for now, because like we both have like totally different I guess like lifestyles right now, not necessarily just like apart from the social media, just kind of like we both are like looking to branch off to different things and like do different things. So I think right now we're just better off as friends, and like we both like mutually decided that. Like it was kind of just a thing that we were like, you know, we love each other so much and like we love being around each other, and we're super good friends. So it's like I guess for now it's just best that we stay that way, and like, you know, we support each other 100%.
However, at the same time, they were teasing the audience nonstop, leaning into each other and almost kissing on camera. After Bryce was released from jail, Addison's mom Sherry also made this one tweet saying, "Stan Bryce Hall for a clearer skin." This tweet came immediately after the drug incident, which made people speculate if she was supporting Bryce in all of this. Honestly speaking, we wouldn't really be surprised if she was, given how unpredictable Addison's mother really is. Those who know, know. However, we'll not get into that in today's video. For now, we want to focus on Bryce and Addison and their confusing relationship, along with other controversies surrounding the Sway house. We tried our best to put a timeline together of their relationship, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They were basically acting like they were not dating, but doing all the couple things and teasing the audience with clickbait. However, their relationship finally came out, but not before they broke up once. What happened was that Josh and Bryce accused Charli D'Amelio's boyfriend Chase Hudson of cheating on his girlfriend and texting Josh's girlfriend Nessa Barrett. Yeah, it's like their very own teen influencer dating reality TV show. Huddy was brought into the picture when Josh and Bryce made sort of a diss track on Huddy called Still Softish.
Yo, Bryce, this man's tried to DM my girl, bro. He tried to her. Little hoodie or something. He's a waste man, bro. Bro, he wants to smoke, I guess. Wakanda King. Trying to with me. Trying to my girl. Like I couldn't see. Broken ass nose. Small, still kind of softish. Toxic. Act like you poppin'. Nope. Built like a chop.
Now we're going to switch from Bryce and Addison to Nessa and Josh real quick, because their relationship was exactly what started the entire beef between the Sway house and the Hype house. It turned out that Addison and Bryce weren't the only inner-house couple. Josh Richard, one of the founding members of the Sway house, also dated Nessa Barrett. Now, if you don't know anything about Nessa, she was also huge on TikTok. It actually went viral a while ago for throwing it back to the verses of Quran. So yeah, she wasn't exactly drama-free herself. Back when all this chaos unfolded, she was in a relationship with Josh Richards. In fact, the two had been together since 2019, long before the Sway house was even formed.
You think I'm cute? Yes or no? Yes?
Now, while we don't know the exact timeline of how everything went down, it seems pretty clear that Nessa and Josh broke up first, and whatever happened between her and Jaden came after that. It honestly doesn't look like her thing with Jaden was the reason for the breakup, but ironically enough, it's probably the reason why Nessa and Josh never got back together. So if you're clueless what we're talking about, Nessa and Josh posted this video on YouTube titled, "We Broke Up" on 19th of June 2020.
Alright, so how do you want to start it?
So basically, Josh broke up with me.
Awesome way to start it. Cool.
What did you say?
I was gonna say, did you do your makeup so that you stop yourself from crying? Because that's what you always used to say.
I actually had a photo shoot that I stopped to come to this, so you're welcome.
We just felt like you guys deserve to know. We also didn't want, lies or rumors being spread, because the last thing I know personally is any of you guys to go and spread any hate on Nessa, because she's an amazing girl.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess that's the video. So now I gotta go kick Nessa out.
Sucks. Literally packed my bags, thought I was staying the night. I mean, I could.
Are you gonna splash some tears on your face?
So in this video, they essentially shared their breakup announcement in a joint YouTube upload, where they claimed the decision was mutual. They explained that they had come to a point in their relationship where it made more sense to part ways and focus on personal growth and individual goals. However, they also said that despite going their separate ways, there were no hard feelings, and they still plan to remain friends moving forward. However, as you guys might have guessed by now, nothing like that happened, because things turned really messy. Now, this breakup video happened only 6 months after the Sway House started, and only a few months after the breakup, Nessa was linked with another guy. Enter Chase Hudson and Charli D'Amelio, aka the couple that Gen Z wanted to protect at all costs until everything exploded. They started dating when Charli was still the fresh face of TikTok, and Chase was the soft boy poster child. Things were cute until they weren't. Allegations started swirling that Chase had slid into other girls' DMs, Nessa Barrett, and suddenly all of TikTok was in a full-blown civil war. So let us break it down for you guys. All of this drama started brewing around the summer of 2020, when rumors began circulating that Nessa and Lil Huddy had kissed. Now, to be fair, Nessa was single at the time, so technically she didn't do anything wrong. However, before we jump to defend Nessa, let's take a step back and consider a few things. The thing with these 2020 TikTok couples is, was a breakup ever really a breakup? Just take Addison and Bryce, for example. They broke up a dozen times and always managed to find their way back to each other for some reason. And let's not forget that the infamous breakup video Nessa and Josh posted on YouTube wasn't exactly screaming, "We're done." If anything, it felt more like a soft launch for a reunion that was eventually about to happen.
All of Nessa's future boyfriends better know that I'm going to beat them up with this fucking bat right here.
I thought you were gonna hug me.
No, I am gonna actually bash their brains in with this bat.
If I'm being honest, I kind of just started social media since I've been with Josh. There was a lot of things that I had to learn during the process of me.
We mean they were giving each other flirty eyes, being weirdly romantic for people who just ended things, and left fans with more questions than closure. Honestly, with how often these TikTok relationships bounced back, it wouldn't have been surprising if they patched things up again. So before we confidently say that Nessa and Josh were officially broken up when the kiss with Lil Huddy happened, we need to take all this ambiguity into account. Nothing was ever black and white in the TikTok universe, especially not when it came to relationships. However, the real issue is that Lil Huddy was still publicly linked to Charli D'Amelio. Although he later claimed he was single when the kiss happened, fans were quick to point out the suspicious timing and started piecing together a very messy timeline. Nessa herself commented on the situation. She said in a statement to People, "Yes, Chase kissed me and nothing else happened after that. I can speak for the both of us that it didn't mean anything." So let's rewind a little bit. The diss track that we mentioned earlier in the video happened around this time. We also saw in some videos online that the diss track was released after Nessa and Josh broke up. However, the diss track actually came out in March 2020, while Josh and Nessa's breakup video wasn't posted until June. So it's unlikely the track was about the kiss itself. Instead, it was probably aimed at the growing rumors about Nessa and Lil Huddy that were already circulating while she was still with Josh. That's what makes the situation messy. because if those rumors had any truth to them, whatever was happening between Nessa and Lil Huddy may have started before the breakup. Anyways, regardless of whether the diss track was about the kiss or not, this seemed to really piss Huddy off because right after that, he posted a tweet exposing Sway House boys of cheating on their girls. Yeah, he did a complete Uno reverse on these guys. He said in his tweet, "Since all my drama has to be put on the internet for the world to judge me, let's lay out everyone else's." Anthony got with Cynthia a week after we broke up on tour. Jaden actively tried to hook up with Dixie at her house on the 4th of July in front of me while she was dating Griffin. Griffin cheated on Dixie with Taylor's ex Kaylin and Bryce's ex Ellie. Jaden and Josh cheated endless amounts of times on Mads and Nessa for the past few months. Keo cheated on Olivia. The only person who has a right to be upset with me is Charli, and I'm sorry I hurt her. We broke up and I messed up by kissing Nessa. I'm not sorry to Josh. We are not boys and we haven't been boys since he lied to Charli saying I had an STD 6 months ago, trying to get her to stop seeing me. I'm not going to let these hypocrites try and ruin my life without their lives being out on the internet too. Wow, damn, that was a lot. Now, since we're juggling multiple stories together, we'd like to get back to the Bryce Hall relationship situation before we talk about this mess. Because trust us, it's gonna take a big chunk of this video to cover everything. While we don't see any mention of Bryce in this particular tweet, something definitely happened after this post, because right after this happened, Addison archived all of her posts with Bryce, hinting the end of their secret but not so secret romance. But then they posted a video together titled "The Truth About Us." In this video, both Bryce and Addison kissed on camera and admitted that they were together. They also admitted that it was the second time they've been dating.
It is true. I know I denied that. But we did date for 3 days one time, and then I broke up with him. After Bryce's little mishap, then we started talking every day and hanging out again. We ended things again talking after his birthday. I didn't say a word to you, remember?
Yeah.
And then we saw each other at places and I would not talk to you. After that, after the birthday scandal, then he bought me a gift and wrote me a letter for my birthday, and it was really sweet. And we were hanging out every single day. He asked me out October 13th to be his girlfriend.
So this is our second time, and it's been more than 3 days.
This is our second time dating ever.
So it's kind of successful because it's been more than 3 days.
So we've been dating for like almost 2 months.
I guess that answers the last question. Are you dating?
Yeah, so we are dating, and we've been dating since October 13th. We're dating officially, and this is going to be really interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, remember though, our designated breakup date is December 3rd, according to Addison's inside management.
But yeah, so we're going to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean December 3rd.
Until December 3rd.
It's absurd how they are literally giving each other a deadline. It's almost like they're pre-cogging their breakup. However, like we said earlier, it's just entertaining for the audience to watch, the constant up and down and the drama that comes with it. Also, spoiler alert, they didn't last till December because they broke in March 2021, after Bryce went to Las Vegas and allegedly cheated on her. It was a very drawn-out and weird breakup, which left people speculating for a long time if they were going to get back together. Bryce made a video about it in which he confirmed that he and Addison had split up. However, he denied that he ever cheated on Addison.
So there's a few things that I want to address. One being, yes, Addison and I are broken up. I don't want to talk about specific reasons because that's our private business. I wanted to keep everything off of social media in the first place, but obviously that didn't work at all. I think everybody has their own perception and idea of why we broke up. I'll tell you right now, that's not true at all. And that will lead me right into the next thing I want to talk about. The cheating allegations. I already spoke up on Twitter about it. I said I didn't cheat on Addison, and I stand by that. I never cheated on Addison. Addison and I broke up around a month ago, and we kept everything semi-private on social media, but now that it's out, I guess this is me just kind of confirming, yes, we are broken up. We've been broken up for the past month. Both of us are going through a shit ton of things right now behind the scenes that we don't necessarily comfortably want to talk about.
And with this, we put a full stop to the Bryce Hall relationship. But don't worry, he is the main character of the Sway House drama, and he's gonna make a comeback to the story soon enough. Although his name wasn't mentioned in Huddy's list, this still doesn't make him any better. In fact, this appears to be the theme with all of the Sway House boys. They just like to present themselves as these hot playboys who don't really care and they could get anyone and whoever they wanted because they had good bodies and followers on TikTok, which was unfortunately not entirely false. It was just sad to see what these people reduced relationships to. There was absolutely no trust or loyalty in any of these relationships of sway boys. And again, it's sad to see that the kids of the 2020 era were probably growing up seeing this, that this was a normal thing to do in relationships. Honestly speaking, it was disgusting and disappointing, but enough yapping, let's get back to the topic. So after Huddy posted that tweet exposing every sway boy, Charli reposted and replied to his tweet saying, "Stop deflecting your actions onto others because you can't take responsibility, Chase. Want me to talk about how you treated me throughout our relationship, or do you just want to continue to play the victim?" Chase posted another tweet claiming that he was single when the kiss happened. He wrote, "All of this drama going on is because I kissed Nessa when we were both single." Charli then replied to this tweet as well, saying, "Then you shouldn't have come to my house after without telling me." So apparently Chase kissed Nessa while he and Charli were broken up, but then went to Charli's house right after without even telling her. Now we're not sure what to call this exactly, but it feels like borderline cheating. Like, why would you kiss someone else if you're planning to get back with your ex? Honestly, if you thought that was messy, just wait. Around April 2021, rumors started flying that Nessa was either trying to date or already dating another Sway House boy. And not just any boy, her ex, Josh's best friend Jaden. Now here's where it all really turns into a tangled mess. Around March 2021, Jaden was still very publicly dating Mads Lewis. But then fans noticed something strange. Mads had deleted all of her pictures with Jaden and unfollowed both him and Nessa from her account. Naturally, this set off a wave of speculation about what was really going on between the three. But people didn't have to wonder for long. Mads soon posted a now deleted TikTok featuring Taylor Swift's Better Than Revenge playing in the background. And yes, it showed Nessa's face as the lyrics blasted, "She took him faster than you can say sabotage."
The story starts when it was hot and it was summer and I had it all, I had him right there where I wanted him. She came along, got him alone, and let's hear the applause. She took him faster than you could say sabotage.
Now, Josh actually talked about this situation a bit on the BFFs podcast. He basically said that he'll always be the type of guy who wants to believe his best friend over what he called some crazy ex. He also confirmed that Mads and Jaden had obviously broken up, but he doesn't believe what Mads was saying about Nessa and Jaden. Mostly because, according to him, Mads apparently doesn't like Nessa very much.
I'm always gonna be that guy that wants to believe my best friend, right? I'm never gonna be like, oh, okay, cause his ex said something, that means it's for sure, cause exes do crazy ass shit. So, kept that in my head, but also you just a guy gets jealous. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up, I fucking love Jaden. I know he wouldn't do anything, but seeing this video, and I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, first thing, I'm just sad. I was low-key pretty sad. I think I almost shed a tear. And then the second thing that happened, probably second thing I thought was these motherfuckers are about to breed a demon. I'm gonna be heartless after this. If this actually girls ask why there's boys, boom, here's the answer. Right here. These are the scenarios that breed boys.
It was already bad enough that Nessa started dating Josh's best friend and that the two of them hid it from him. But the truly sad part is that the entire time, Josh thought that he and Nessa were just on a break. Honestly, the whole situation was incredibly messy. For the longest time, Jaden and Nessa didn't even admit they had hooked up. However, Mads revealed on the Call Her Daddy podcast that Jaden had actually admitted to liking Nessa. Another thing that really struck people as odd and honestly pretty cold was how unbothered both Jaden and Nessa seemed by the entire situation. Jaden didn't comment on it for a very long time, and when Nessa finally did speak up, she made a tweet that completely victimized herself, as if she were the one who had been wronged. She said in her tweet, "I have been through so much recently. I've broken down completely 2 weeks ago, and have nearly done something that is irreversible. I got up and decided to release all of the negatives in my life. I'm not in a place to entertain those full of hatred and lies." However, despite all of this, Nessa and Jaden took their relationship public when they collaborated on a song together called La Di Di.
Oh, Jaden, so Gonna be a rock star, yeah. Told her I don't want a war, yeah.
Not only this, but they apparently got matching tattoos together. After this, the backlash against Nessa Baird and Jaden Hostler's relationship was intense, especially online. Many fans and followers took to Reddit to voice their anger, confusion, and disappointment over how things unfolded. On several threads, users criticized the duo for being inconsiderate of Josh. One user said the whole thing felt like a real-life soap opera, while another commented that it was honestly disgusting how they hid it and then acted like victims. One commenter on Reddit said, "I was on Mad's side the entire time and still am. It disgusted me. People were reacting like she was doing too much and that she can't be heard about the situation, all because Nessa was the popular one at the time, lol." Another user replied saying, "I agree that if you had to pick a side, it should be Mad's, because Nessa was clearly 100% in the wrong. Though it's always fascinating that the woman gets more flack than the man, but to be fair, she was doing too much. Making cringy TikTok edits of Nessa and Jaden and telling the paparazzi that she called that she wanted to fight her was such childish behavior, and you can't deny that. She had every right to feel the way she did. The better revenge would have been handling the trauma in private." Another interesting point that came up on Reddit was how many people believe Jaden and Nessa caused a lot of unnecessary emotional damage, particularly to Josh. For those who followed him, you know that Josh had a best friend named Cooper who tragically passed away from an overdose. That event alone seemed to deeply alter Josh's perspective on life. He began distancing himself from the whole Sway Boy scene, becoming noticeably more introspective and low-key. What's even more surprising is that there's a video circulating on Reddit where Cooper allegedly says that he kind of knew something would eventually happen between Nessa and Jaden. This adds another unsettling layer, implying that the relationship may not have been as sudden or innocent as it was portrayed. Even more heartbreaking is the fact that Josh and Cooper apparently stopped talking for almost 9 months after the Nessa thing happened.
Oh, you said you became best friends with Jaden, right?
Yeah,
Does that mean when the Jaden Nessa shit happened, you two, Josh, you and Cooper stopped talking?
Yep. Fully.
Yeah.
Like nine months of no communication at all. Like not even like a hi, not even a how are you.
Did you try to talk to Josh, or did you like cut Josh off? He cut you off.
He cut me off, and I knew what I did, and I just didn't want to hurt him, anymore. So I stopped. I felt I get emotional. I'm a sensitive guy, by the way. I felt very in a moral gray area at the time.
Right, yeah.
So I was like...
You see the train before it crashed, you're like, this is...
Yeah, I did.
You knew shit's going on, and like, eventually it was going to come to some sort of conclusion one way or the other?
Yeah, I knew that. I mean, for the whole entire situation, yeah, I knew.
Didn't even tell me. Kind of messed up.
Exactly why he didn't talk to me for 9 months.
So, according to what we figured out, Cooper and Josh stopped talking for this very reason, that Cooper knew what was going on and still decided to hide it from Josh, which is why Josh cut him off. And the fact that Cooper died not long after makes the situation even worse. A lot of people feel like so much trauma and unresolved emotions came out because of how Nessa and Jaden behaved. Like they didn't care about the consequences or how their actions affected others. Even after everything that happened, Jaden ended up cheating on Nessa with another girl named Josie.
Landon Barker, Travis Barker's son, unfollowed Jaden and Josie Canseco, who is rumored to be Landon's girl, and now people theorizing that Jaden may have cheated with Josie.
I think that could be a possibility.
You think so?
They know what they're doing when they unfollow people.
The unfollow in social media, that's pretty much everything.
It's a shock.
If you had to gun to head, would you believe this rumor?
I think there's something going on because we reached out to him.
To who?
Landon Barker. And say, like, do you want to come on, set the record straight? And he said, I might be open to the idea. I'll let you guys know the next day or so. This is last night when the stuff broke. So the fact that he's answering, like, open to the idea, like, there is something to set the record straight on, makes me think there's something there.
Isn't Barker connected to Jaden?
Well, that's why I think it's a big deal.
So there's got to be something there.
Would Josie answer? Josie may just answer.
And not only that, this whole situation dragged yet another person into the mess, Landon Barker. Apparently, Josie had also been dating Landon around the same time, and when rumors started swirling about her and Jaden being together, Landon unfollowed both of them on social media. It didn't take long before people connected the dots.
So there was a rumor going around that the reason that Jaden and Nessa broke up was because Jaden cheated on Nessa with Josie Canseco. And it all kind of tied in because Josie was apparently talking to, hanging out with Landon Barker. And then Landon unfollowed Josie and Jaden and didn't unfollow Nessa. And even hanging out together. They were talking about it on the BFFs podcast. Josie commented and goes, "I've never in my entire life ever come close to touching Jaden, nor am I at all why they split. This rumor needs to stop here now, hella childish."
It's almost like there's always another girl when it comes to the Sway Boys. That's been the running theme from the start. Whether it's breakups, cheating scandals, or messy love triangles, there always seems to be someone waiting in the wings. And it's part of what makes that whole era so chaotic and emotionally draining for everyone involved. However, by mid-2021, most of these couples were long gone. Addison was off doing movies and hanging out with the Kardashians.
So I'm freaking out a little bit because today Addison is going to teach me a TikTok dance.
Try to push down as far as you can. Okay, yeah. What?
You better work, Kimberly. I can't get down like you.
Charli had moved on, and so had her eyebrow shape.
I literally almost had a mental breakdown. I shaved this entire part of my eyebrow.
And Bryce, still beefing with people on Twitter and trying to box TikTokers into irrelevance.
He makes his highly anticipated BKFC debut. Here is the popular TikTok and YouTube star, fighting out of Los Angeles, California, Bryce.
But these relationships mattered, not because they were healthy or long-lasting, but because they were the engine behind a lot of this sway versus hype chaos. The romance was messy, the breakups were even messier, and fans were hooked on every minute of it like it was the TikTok version of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And that, my friends, is how a couple of 19-year-olds with ring lights and trust issues created an entire era of internet drama. However, with all that said, let's shift gears from the relationship drama and talk about some of the other major factors that truly led to the downfall of the Sway House, starting with the wild parties, the COVID controversies, and most importantly, their complete disregard for COVID-19 SOPs and social distancing during the height of the pandemic. These weren't just minor slip-ups, they became massive public scandals that drew backlash from all sides and seriously damaged their reputation. So during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Saddle Ranch Chop House, a popular West Hollywood bar and restaurant, became the unofficial hangout spot for TikTok influencers, especially members of the Sway House and Hype House. Despite strict public health orders in Los Angeles, creators like Bryce Hall, Noah Beck, Blake Gray, and others were repeatedly seen dining, drinking, and mingling there without masks or social distancing. This situation sparked major backlash, as videos surfaced online showing crowds of fans gathering outside the venue, trying to get photos with their favorite creators, completely ignoring social distancing protocols.
1, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tell them bring another round, we need plenty more. 2 stepping on the table, she don't need a dance floor. Oh my, good Lord. Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey.
In October 2020, while the world was grappling with the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, a group of influencers gathered at Saddle Ranch in Los Angeles to throw a large Halloween party, despite strict lockdown measures still being in place. This wasn't just any ordinary time. Hospitals were overwhelmed, healthcare workers were stretched thin, and countless lives were being lost daily. At a time when people were being urged to stay home and follow safety protocols, these influencers chose to ignore the reality and hold a party as if none of it mattered. Among those spotted at the event were Addison Rae, Bryce Hall, and other members of the Sway House. Their actions quickly sparked outrage online. Even Ariana Grande spoke out, criticizing influencers for prioritizing parties over public safety.
Of all the things that we couldn't we have just stayed at home for a few more weeks like all the other countries that were fine and are better than we are? Like, did we really all need to go to Saddle Ranch that badly that like we couldn't have waited for the deathly pandemic to pass? Like, we all really needed to put on our cowgirl boots and...
However, according to Bryce, Ariana only called the group out for attention and publicity, and he also believes it was very unnecessary. While speaking on the Hollywood Raw podcast, Bryce claimed that Ariana was only dissing the influencers as a marketing stunt. To quote an E! News article, He speculated as to why the Ariana zeroed in on TikTokers, because she knew that TikTokers have like a high audience. She knew a lot of people would agree, because there's a lot of people that hate TikTokers especially, the 21-year-old said. I mean, it was obviously like a marketing move and good for her, but like she's not wrong. However, Bryce acknowledged he didn't have much of a defense against Ari's claims. He explained, "What's a TikToker gonna say? F you, Ariana? I'm not going to say that. Everyone is like, you're right." Honestly speaking, the whole situation was disappointing. These weren't clueless kids, they were adults with massive platforms and influence. Instead of setting a positive example or using their reach to promote health guidelines, they sent a dangerous message to their audiences that partying during a global health crisis was acceptable. But this wasn't the only incident either. There was also Bryce Hall's 21st birthday party, which had nearly 100 people in attendance. Once again, Bryce tried to play it off as a small hangout that got blown out of proportion, but that was always the intention. You can find plenty of clips from the party online showing them dancing, even stripping, and completely ignoring social distancing.
Nowhere near the beginning. This is about to get so crazy. I appreciate all of you guys for coming out tonight. I turned 21.
However, the party was eventually shut down by the LAPD, and even the mayor of Los Angeles had to release a public statement addressing the issue. He explained that these parties had continued despite several warnings, which is why the authorities decided to cut off utilities to the house in an effort to stop the gatherings.
The party may be over for TikTok star Bryce Hall. At least it's run out of juice. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti ordered the power to be turned off at the Hollywood Hills residence where Hall lives. The shutdown came after reports of numerous large parties at the home. Those gatherings violated measures designed to stem the spread of the coronavirus. Garcetti released a statement that said in part, despite several warnings, this house has turned into a nightclub in the hills, hosting large gatherings in flagrant violation of our public health orders. The city has now disconnected utilities at this home to stop these parties that endanger our community.
As expected, a lot of people online were mad about it. One user tweeted, "I say everyone unfollows every single influencer that attended Bryce Hall's birthday party. These selfish, ignorant, narcissistic pricks never deserved a platform in the first place. All they influence is that it's okay to party during a pandemic. Get a grip." However, this is not even the worst of Bryce Hall. If we had to list all the things he's done so far, we'd have to make another separate video on him. What we'd like to mention here is something related to Addison that we did not mention before. So after the major wave of TikTok drama that hit the internet in July 2020, many fans assumed things would calm down. But in true TikTok fashion, the chaos was far from over. Just a few weeks later, things escalated again, this time involving Addison Rae, Bryce Hall, and a girl named Alisa Miner. Now, even though the two broke up, Addison and Bryce had a complicated relationship at the time. They were no longer officially together, but in early August 2020, Bryce publicly announced that he and Addison were testing the waters again. This gave fans hope that the couple, often referred to as Bradison, might be rekindling their romance. But almost immediately after that statement, new footage surfaced online that turned everything upside down. A video began circulating of a party at the Sway House where Bryce was seen with a girl dancing on his lap. That girl was not Addison. Fans quickly put their detective skills to use and identified her as Alisa Miner, a former Miss North Carolina Teen USA winner and rising influencer.
Now make that.
The video spread like wildfire, and people flooded social media with speculation, assumptions, and plenty of criticism. Shortly afterward, Addison posted a series of cozy, seemingly flirty pictures with Bryce on Instagram. However, not long after posting them, she took the photos down without explanation. The move raised eyebrows and sent fans into another spiral of confusion. When approached by paparazzi, Bryce claimed he had no idea why Addison deleted the pictures. Guess what? The paparazzi and Bryce ran into Addison that exact moment, and when he asked Addison why he deleted the pictures, she simply said, "A girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta." Bryce Hall's most talked about recent controversies was his restaurant brawl in October 2020. The incident took place at a Los Angeles eatery where Bryce, along with a few friends, got into a heated altercation with the restaurant staff. According to reports and viral footage, things escalated quickly. Shouting turned into shoving, and it didn't take long for punches to be thrown.
Stop. Okay, gonna stop. Gonna stop. Okay, stop. Okay, stop. Relax.
Oh my god.
Relax, man.
The whole thing was caught on camera, sparking outrage online. We don't know the details of what exactly happened, but it seems like the restaurant staff asked him to stop vaping. The staff member claims that Bryce quickly became aggressive and started getting racist. The restaurant's co-owner, Hernan Fernando, was injured and later sued Hall for assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, alleging racial slurs and threats were used during the altercation. Now, before we finally touch on the eventual downfall of the group, let us touch a little bit on the feud between the Hype House and the Sway House. So after the drama with Chase died down, it looked like things were patched up between the Sway House and Hype House. The two groups started pulling off big pranks together, and even sparked rumors of a joint house called the Swipe House, just to mess with fans.
That is a fishbowl, reel it in, right? Word, okay. It's me and my friend, come on. Right. Walk it in, walk it out, get out.
They made their collaboration official with a video in June 2020, and Bryce jokingly tweeted that he had joined the Hype House.
Yes, I'm still doing now what I'm doing then. Chasing you like a shot of whiskey. Burning, going down, chasing you like those goodbye.
Even though he wasn't serious, it was clear there were no lingering tensions. Bryce even teamed up with Ryland, showing that the two sides had moved past their earlier feud. However, it didn't last very long. According to a J14 article, the founders of both houses, Thomas and Bryce, got embroiled in major feud once again. After they assured fans there was no more drama between them back in June. This time it started after Bryce claimed the Hype House was full of lies and content on Twitter. Thomas replied to Bryce talking about his squad with, "Kids' content is literally only talking about us at this point." Then Bryce told Thomas to stay in your lane, which resulted in the two going back and forth on social media. Eventually, Thomas brought up Bryce's arrest from May 2020. Days later, when talking to the paparazzi, the Hype House founder explained why he stopped acknowledging Bryce's tweets and said, "I was just a little tired to waking up to TikTok room with someone talking every day that I thought was my friend." Thomas also revealed that he wanted to fight the Sway House boys off camera. But then Bryce Hall responded with this video, basically challenging Thomas to a boxing match.
Thomas Petru, what the are you doing, dude? So if you guys aren't hip, a couple days ago, Hollywood Fix came up to me at Saddle Ranch after I was done eating and I was pulling away. He asked me a pretty general question.
What's going on with the Hype House content, man? You saying it's all fake?
Hype House content is all fake. Did I lie? Their content's fake. Everything that they do is fake. It's all content. They're filling pools up with balls. Like, what kind of content is that? No way! Holy!
Honestly speaking, Bryce Hall's boxing career is one of the most surprising and chaotic plot twists in the TikTok to influencer pipeline. Known originally for his bad boy antics, shirtless thirst traps, and drama-filled tenure in the Sway House, Bryce decided to trade TikTok beef for actual fists by entering the influencer boxing scene. His boxing debut came in June 2021 during the highly publicized YouTubers vs. TikTokers event, where he faced off against YouTuber Austin McBroom. Bryce talked a lot of smack leading up to the fight, going as far as saying he was going to knock him out in the first round. Unfortunately for him, the only thing that got knocked out was his ego. Austin McBroom dominated the match, winning by TKO in the third round, while Bryce famously claimed, "I'm not a boxer," after spending months insisting that he was.
You could see in the first round, as soon as he started clenching that arm right at the beginning, there was a...
Honestly, that was break. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a boxer. I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter. I'm gonna knock out Austin because I'm an actual fighter.
But surprisingly, Bryce didn't give up. He kept training and made a comeback in April 2023 in a fight against fellow creator G. Perez in the undercard of the Misfits boxing event. This time, Bryce actually won, earning his first victory in the ring and some respect from fans and haters alike. People who once clowned him for getting folded now started to say he might actually have potential in the sport.
Goes immediately to the outside. Circling out to the inside. Big shots and down goes G. Perez on the right hand.
That first punch, wow. That was a wake-up call for Perez, baby. Let's see what happened. But that just really...
Since then, Bryce has been leaning into the boxing persona, posting training clips, hyping up potential matchups, and even teasing future bouts. Whether he's in the ring or on Twitter starting beef, one thing is certain. Bryce Hall knows how to keep himself relevant, with or without a bloody nose. However, by this time, the Sway House had already dissolved. At its peak, the Sway House was a content powerhouse. But behind the viral videos were cracks forming early on. One major source of tension was Talent X, the management company behind the boys. Creative differences and clashing egos led to disagreements, with some members feeling stifled by the agency's direction. Rather than just being influencers, the boys wanted to be entrepreneurs. Bryce Hall and Josh Richards co-founded Annie Energy, launching their own energy drink brand. This marked the beginning of the end. Members started focusing on building individual empires instead of the group. Josh eventually stepped away from TikTok content, turning his attention to the BFFs podcast with Barstool Sports. As individual brands grew, the house lost its core identity. Without a shared vision or real cohesion, Sway became more of a label than a collective. Ultimately, their meteoric rise came faster than most could handle. Fame outpaced maturity, and without strong guidance or unity, Sway House crumbled, leaving behind solo stars, business ventures, and a reminder that not every content house is built to last. The first ones to leave were Josh and Jaden. Following their exit, the group split into smaller factions, with Griggs and Johnson forming Sway Gaming, while Hall, Gray, and Beck remained the primary faces of the original Sway House. It was also through Sway Gaming that the group ventured into producing interactive games, including a story-based game series similar to the popular narrative-style games often seen online. These games allowed fans to engage with fictionalized versions of the Sway members, making choices that affected the storyline. But honestly, it was cringe and got made fun of a lot for obvious reasons.
Looks like I'll be talking to her first.
No way, bro. That was a tie.
Okay, pretty awesome transition with the water.
The trio later moved into an 8,500 square foot rented mansion to continue producing content. In August 2020, the Los Angeles City Council shut power off to their house, citing the violation of COVID-19 safety guidelines after Hull hosted a party during the pandemic. Although Michael Gruen confirmed to People in February 2021 that Sway House was officially dissolved, saying, "If you view Sway as a content collective that lives together and is with each other every day, then yes, it's over." Johnson later revealed that the group had actually separated back in December 2020. However, even after the disbandment, many of the boys continued living together and collaborating on content, though they no longer referred to themselves formally as Sway. During this time, the Sway brand continued to be used for various business ventures, including Sway Fitness, a workout supplement brand. Also, it came across some clips of The Sway Life, a Facebook reality show that premiered on March 29th, 2021. And honestly speaking, we think it'd be safe to say that this show was a complete failure.
No, everyone in Sway is taken, except for these two losers.
Let's get these guys some girlfriends.
I'm scared.
I feel different! At the end of the day, you just gotta stop worrying about what people think about you.
It's living on the inside.
We wanted to make a docu-series following us along on our journey and showing you what the Sway life really is like.
It's a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie.
Don't be such a wussball.
We do the same stuff as a college fraternity.
At the end of the day, the rise and fall of the Sway House feels like a cautionary tale in the age of influencer fame, where a group of teenage boys can go from dancing in their bedrooms to singing million-dollar brand deals, only to burn out just as fast. On paper, Sway House had everything: charisma, controversy, and content. But behind the viral videos and frat house energy was something a lot less sustainable. One of the biggest reasons the house fell apart was ego. These weren't just random teens making TikToks together. They were becoming celebrities fast. And with that kind of overnight fame comes pressure, competition, and inevitable clashes. Every member had their own fan base, their own opportunities, their own ambitions. At some point, it stopped being about sway and started being about the individuals. Josh Richards was launching a podcast and dabbling in entrepreneurship. Bryce Hall was throwing parties and training for boxing matches. Jaden Hostler was turning into a rock star, and Noah Beck quietly pivoted into modeling and mainstream appearances. Everybody was doing their own thing, and there wasn't anyone guiding them with a bigger vision. No manager, no creative director, no adult in the room. The lack of leadership meant there was no one holding it all together. They had no shared strategy or mission beyond make content, go viral, get views. That worked for a while, but fame without structure is a shaky foundation. Sway quickly gained a reputation for being the wild house, the place where rules didn't matter. That party-first culture may have looked cool from the outside, but it made the group unmanageable. They were constantly in the headlines for throwing ragers, violating COVID protocols, and beefing with other influencers. In simple words, what started as clout turned into chaos. Eventually, all that drama began to wear thin with the public. Fans who once loved the antics grew tired of the non-stop scandals. The novelty wore off, the cracks became obvious, and instead of addressing them, Sway kind of just faded. There was no formal goodbye, no official statement. The group didn't disband with a bang, it fizzled out with a shrug. By late 2020, it was over, but no one said it out loud. In later interviews, some of the members admitted it just fell apart on its own.
I screwed up a big deal for the Sway Boys. Me, Josh, and Jaden and Blake got arrested for weed. That screwed a deal that was like a multi-million-dollar deal for a lot of the guys that were in Sway. After the arrest, Michael Gruen kind of like screwed me over and like said it was all my fault.
Michael Gruen was your former manager, but you weren't the only one arrested, right?
I feel like people knew the real story of that night.
What's the real story of that night?
Screw it, it's been 2 years. I took the blame for the weed, even though I don't smoke weed.
However, from public eye, it wasn't just a single incident that led to the downfall. It was a series of moments that snowballed over time, gradually pulling the Sway House into its own collapse. It was more like they stopped calling themselves the Sway House, even though many of them still lived together in the same mansion for a while. That awkward in-between stage was even weirder because technically, the Sway Boys brand was owned by Triller. The house wasn't just a casual hangout, it was part of a business venture. And even when they weren't calling themselves Sway anymore, Triller still had a grip on the brand. Some members went their separate ways completely. Jaden focused on his music career, which has grown well beyond TikTok fame. Griffin Johnson dipped into acting and music. Quentin Griggs quietly exited the drama scene altogether. Bryce is still doing influencer boxing and making content, but it's more solo now. Josh is fully in his BFF's podcast era, building his empire. Noah Beck keeps things low-key, modeling and appearing in high-profile campaigns while mostly staying away from the mess. Looking back, the Sway House was never really built to last. It wasn't designed for longevity, growth, or structure. It was lightning in a bottle, raw, chaotic, and incredibly influential for a brief window of time. But fame that intense, that fast, doesn't come without consequences. And in the end, the Sway Boys burned bright, but not for long. With that, we'd like to wrap up today's video. If you've made it this far, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. While you're at it, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts on the downfall of the Sway House, the endless scandals, the intense infighting, and all the drama in between. Do you think any of it was genuine, or was it just a clout-chasing circus? And if it was real, was it healthy, or even something that should have helped launch their careers the way it did? Let us know what you think.